so that we can jump there. Okay. So we understood what is the problem with the blocking API, right? So right now, whatever we have in our Java framework level, it's a blocking API, right? So any database call or any integration service call, right? So any third-party service call, it is just blocking, right? So the thread is going to wait until the response coming back from the the corresponding call, right? It can be a DB call or it can be a third-party service. Yes. So it's like combination of these two also same scenario. Okay, so it's a common requirement, right? Making any DB call or making any database call, it's really common. Okay, yeah. So the another alternative solution is increasing the number of threads, but increasing number of threads will not fix the issue because more number of threads will consume more memory and it needs more thread scheduling, right? So obviously, asynchronous is not a proper solution, right? So the alternative solution for this issue is um, reactive programming. Alternative solution for this issue is reactive programming. So this reactive programming is available before Java introduces this concept. Okay, so there is a third-party library called Reactive Streams available, and this Reactive Streams will work with JDK 1.8 also. But the same concept is adapted. The same concept is adapted in Java 1.8, right? Java 1.8, sorry 1.9. Okay, Java 1.9, and so going forward, if you use Java 1.9, so we will be using this publisher subscriber subscription processor from Flow API, right? Flow API, yes. And we have some kind of comparison also, Java 1.8 and Java 1.9. Okay, yeah. So Java 1.8 means we are going to use third-party library. Java 1.9 means it's part of JDK, and so this kind of reactiveness we have available in Java in 8 levels. Like, but it's not fully reactive. Asynchronous will not be considered the reactive, so that's the reason why it's not like we cannot say it's fully reactive. Okay, and with the JDK, outside of JDK, we have so many libraries are available, and the complete world is using these libraries only at this point. And as part of Spring Journey, we are going to learn Project Reactor. As part of Spring Journey, we are going to learn Project Reactor. It's a complete different project from Spring. Okay, it won't be listed in Spring.io because it is a community edition, right? It's not like fully by Spring, right? So that is the reason why it's like a separate project is created. And there are so many modules are there in this project React. Okay, so project Reactor for reactors, test reactor, extra reactor, native reactor, adapter, right? So there are so many layers are there. But anyway, we are not going to learn the full project Reactor. We are going to focus mainly on two classes. One is mono and another one is flex. Okay. And if you go to the official documentation or any tutorial, this is what is the famous diagram. So the first line indicates the publisher and second line indicates the subscriber. And subscribers subscribe to publisher through some operator, and the data flow will start from publisher to subscriber. If anything goes wrong, it's an abnormal termination. And if all the flow, all the flow continues, right? So, I mean, the flow is continuous, then it's going to be on complete. On complete is event is going to be. So when it is coming to mono, it's like only one because mono can hold maximum one element or like minimum is zero. Okay, so that is the reason why mono has only one model. Okay, so this is what we discussed yesterday, and we understood what is the learning part, right? So if you would like to develop Spring Boot application, right? If you would like to develop Spring Boot application in a reactive model, so what are all the things we should learn? So it's the journey is going to start with Project Reactor. Okay, so we have some other libraries like very famous is RX Java, right? Reactive X. ReactiveX is also a community project, and it's supporting by so many um, software right chains, right, like Netflix, Microsoft, okay, Couchbase, Airbnb, like that. There are so many people are supporting. So Project Reactor is another layer, right? So it's from Spring, and so it's a library. Project Reactor is just library. So to get framework support, right? To get framework support, so we are going to use Spring Web. Make sure minimum JDK version is required. Minimum JDK version is required for this project, right? For this reactive programming learning is JDK 2.8. Okay. So this is all we discussed yesterday, right? Okay. So now, like from now onwards, like we will be focusing on like learning the methods, how to create flex, how to create mono, right? How to create a flex from collection, how to convert flex to collection, right? So like that we will start learning. Okay. So let's create a simple project. Okay. Let's first create a simple project without Spring Flex, right? So by using Project React. As we discussed already, it is a library. We no need any server, right? To run a project reactor, to run project reactor code, we don't need any server. But when we go to Spring WebFlex, we need a server. Okay, so there is a slight difference between project reactor and Spring WebFlex. So project reactor is a library, no need any server to run this code. But when you want to get benefits of Spring WebFlex, so we need the server, and the default server for Spring WebFlex is Net. Okay, so it's not Tomcat. So going forward, the default server is Netty, but you can make it disable, right? So you can disable Netty and you can use Tomcat, right? So you can use Tomcat also, but we need some minimum version requirement we have, right? So in Tomcat, we need some minimum version requirement because Tomcat 8, Tomcat 7 won't be supporting this reactive programming. I think the minimum version should be some Tomcat 9 with some subversion. Okay, so make sure you are using the latest version of Tomcat. Right? Minimum Tomcat 9 is required. Okay. Yes. So, but anyway, let's try to understand what is mono, what is flex, okay, and why we need a flex and mono, okay. And let's play some time with this flex and mono. Then later we will jump into real application, because real application it's pretty easy. Okay, real application is pretty easy. Like we have filters, we have AOP, we have controllers, request mapping, exception handling. All these are common, right? Just like our Spring Boot MVC, they are going to work. The only change which is going to happen here is the method return types are going to be changed, right? So the method return types are going to be changed. All the methods should return monoflex, right? When we write Spring reactive programming, Spring WebFlex, all the methods, your controller classes, service classes, repositories, they're supposed to return, mono and flex, right? So no more raw object return and no more collections returns, right? So no more collections returns and no more raw object return. It's going to be pure mono flex return, right? So it's going to be pure mono flex return. Yes. So let's start creating a project. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Let me freshly create a Maven project. Go to new project. Go to new project, but we don't need Spring project, right? Let's start with Maven. Okay. Maven project. Click next. Okay. Let's create a simple project. Right? org.apache. Let's see is there anything available from Spring org.spring. Okay, I think everything is boot. Okay, we don't need boot. So let's go to Apache. Create a simple project. Simple. Next. Yeah, let's do the project name as project hyphen reactor demo one. Okay, project reactor demo one, and let it get packaged as a jar file, right? So let it get packaged as a jar file. Okay, so it's created. Let's go to form.xml file. So the default JDK version is 1.7, right? So let's change it, right? We don't need this. Let's remove this. So let's change it to 1.8. Okay, so let's remove all these plugins and all. So um, I think somewhere we added JDK 1.8, right? So anyway, let's go to Google and get that snippet. Okay, Maven source 1.8, target is 1.8. Okay, let's go to any one of these examples. Just copy that plugin. Okay, I think this this is going to work. Let's copy this property. Okay, so the source has to be updated automatically to 1.8. We'll check this out. We'll check it out. Whether it's going to work or not. If it is working, fine. Otherwise, we will add that library. It's not external. We need to change this JDK. So let's select workspace specific. Just to select all, apply and close. So just to right click, man and update project. Now we will come to know whether it's 1.8, right? So it's using 1.8. Good. Okay. So no need to add any library. Just properties are right. So let's close all this. Yes. Because we need minimum version JDK 1.8, right? So minimum version JDK 1.8 is required, but we need to add some libraries, right? Some dependencies in our form.xml file to get this project reactive, right? So these two are required. Project core and core is enough, right? Core is enough. Now let's copy this project reactor code we need it because mono and flex are part of project reactor, right? Yes. Okay, now let's go to the main class. Okay, so let's delete this and write a fresh class. Just click OK. Right click, new class. Um, let's mark the name as mono test. Okay, and put in the package org dot um, org.spring dot project reactive, right? So reactive, still org spring reactive. Let's write the main method. So let's start playing with mono first, right? So let's create a simple mono object. So but before that, I would like to show you the mono class code. It is a abstract class. So can we able to create object for abstract class or not?
No.
Right? It's not at all possible. In Java, abstract classes interfaces cannot be instantiated. So to create object for this mono, what should we do? We should call static methods, right? So what is the design pattern? If you call any method on this class and returns the same object, it is a static factory design pattern, right? Factory design pattern. As it is static method, it's a static factory design pattern. So we are going to call this just method. We are going to call this just method, and you can return any data. For example, okay, let's return a mono which holds a name. So what data type we are storing? We are storing string. So make sure all these are generic classes. Okay, so let's store generic data here, right? So let's store generic data. So my mono, right? So it's mono. And let's print this mono, right? So let's print this mono. Okay, can you guess what will happen if you run this code? Any idea? Hello?
No, Sulan, not sure what.
Fine, just try that out. Yeah,
Nothing will be printed.
right, pardon? Okay, let's do run, right? So let's do run as Java application. Okay, don't try to run with this one, right? So don't ever try to run with uh, Java 1.7 version. Okay, minimum JDK version is required 1.8. Okay. Yeah. Just a second. Okay, yeah, so these are lazy by default, right? So these are lazy by default until you subscribe, right? So until you subscribe to this mono, actually the perfect word is the publisher, right? So until you subscribe to the publisher, because mono is a publisher, right? So mono is a publisher. Until you subscribe to the publisher, nothing can be done, right? So until you subscribe to the publisher, nothing can be done. So when we run this code, so that name, right? So Sunil Manaka, it won't be printed on the console, it just prints done, right? It just prints done. So the same concept is applicable for Flex, right? So the same concept is applicable for Flex also. So Flex of string, so we can store 0 or n number of data, right? So Flex equals to, you can say Flex, okay? You can say Flex, and we are going to store the data of that string. The T can be anything, can be an integer, can be a string, can be a char, right? So you can store any data, right? So you can say, yeah, Java, then say string, then right? So this is what we learned, right? So we started with Java, then we jumped into Spring, then we learned Spring Boot, right? So we can store more than one, right? More than one. But when you go to mono.jest, it cannot insert more than one, right? So there is no constructor which takes more than one parameter, right? So it's not possible. You'll get error, right? So just will take only one element. So mono can hold maximum one element, right? The same concept is applicable for Flex and mono, right? Until you subscribe, that Flex will not be created. Until you subscribe, the mono will not be created or evaluated, right? So you make sure, right? You make sure you are doing the subscribe, right? So the just is the most commonly used method. Just is the most commonly used method in Project Reactor to create mono and flex. Okay, mono and flex. Mono and flex are abstract classes. They cannot be instantiated by using new operator. Let's never try with that. Okay, never try with that. Okay. So let's see a couple of methods, right? Let's yeah, just to be completed. Right? So to create a mono, to create a flex with data, we can use just operator. So going forward, we don't call them method, we'll call them as operator. Call them as operator. So if you would like to create some empty mono, right? So we have optional empty, right? So if you would like to create some empty mono, then you can call empty method. So that it's the same for flex also, right? You can call empty method and flex. So there is an empty flex will be created. Empty flex will be created. So mono has only one element. So you cannot create like mono in multiple ways. But when you go to flex, we have some variety number of methods, right? For example, if you would like to create some numbers like 1 to 10, right? So if you would like to create 1 to 10, right? So let me quickly create another class, right? Flex test. Okay, I selected Nina, that's fine. Later I will change. Flex test. So not like mono, flex has some variety number of methods, right? So we have feasibility to convert collection to flex, array to flex, like that. There are some utility methods are there. Okay, so yeah, as we already know how what is array, what is collection, what is string, it is very easy to understand. So we don't know what is flex, but we know what is array, what is string, what is collection. So it is easy to convert them into flex. But these facilities available only for flex. Okay, first of all, let's create some 0 to 10 numbers, right? So I don't do it by using native Java, right? So if you write any for loop, write any for loop or yeah. So I'll quickly show you. For example, if you would like to create some numbers from 1 to 10, okay. So if you write code like this, yes, this works as we expected, no doubt at all. Okay, so this will give the same output, whatever we are expecting, right? So some numbers equals to new array, but the way we write the code here is called imperative code, right? So it's called imperative code, and we understood integer and how I do this. Let's say int I 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and we just set this data inside this. Okay, and fine. So you just add I, right? So you just add I, and that I will be stored. So once we come out of this for loop, so your collection will have numbers from 0 to 10 collection. But this is an imperative code, and it's costliest code, and it is a risky code also, right? So because we are doing so many operations here, so any small mistake can cause like will cause some kind of problem, and this is what is called outer for loop, right? So outer for loop. So we understood in streams this can be fixed, right? So we have int stream. So int stream, but that is a Java model, right? So int stream we have an option. So you can say range, right? So range, and you can say what is the starting range and what is the ending range. You can get that, right? You can get that number. But this is Java model. But how can we do the same thing by using Flex, right? So Flex also has the same feature, right? Like how we have stream, right? Let's import Flex, okay? Um, dot range, okay, range, and you can say it's like interstream range. It's almost like interstream range, because almost like this reactive stream API works like our Java 8 stream API. Okay, so like almost same similarity, but these are reactors, right? So these are extra benefit you are going to get. Okay, so now this is going to return numbers which are from 0 to 10, right? So integers. So you can just append this to numbers. Okay, numbers. Yeah. So you are going to get numbers from 0 to 10, right? So it's beautified code, and it's going to have inner loops, and this code is a functional way of doing, right? So last whatever bit, it's an imperative code. It is costly, it is risky, and it is a time consuming process, right? There are so many drawbacks we have with imperative code. So that is the reason why these days we are going for functional code, right? So this is perfect functional code which can create numbers from 0 to 10, right? It's just one line code for us, okay? And some the same way how we created numbers like this. And for example, we have collection, right? Collection of data. So the data can be anything. So the data can be an integer data or employee data, or it can be products, mobiles, countries, mobile accessories, anything it can be, right? So you can convert a collection into Flex. Okay, so let's quickly create the numbers equals to I'm going to dot range, okay, and dot range from 0 to 10, okay, but the string has to be converted into collection, right? So the string has to be converted into collection. So what method we can use? Collect, right? So collect um, um, to get this back to collection. This is saying supplier something. We don't need to do those many things. Limit uh, e min max sum summary two array method is there. Two collection is there. You can check that. Okay, two array we have. So let's get it as array and convert it into a collection, right? So how can we convert it an array into collection? So we have arrays, right? Arrays dot as list and pass this. Okay, array pass this and pass this. So you are going to get a list, right? So you are going to get a list. So what is happening here? Mhm. Good. Okay, you are going to create an array here and array numbers in and then arrays dot as list arrays dot as list pass the number. What is going to return? It's supposed to return why it is returning list. Whatever the constructors are there, pass any array to this collection. Okay, use capacity collection. No, we don't have array. Let me check. Okay, to go to Stack Overflow. What is the utility method we have? We have string boxed. Okay, string dot box dot color. Okay, I think let's call boxed dot color. Collectors dot toolist. Okay, collectors dot toolist. Yeah, so we don't that and a list of numbers. Okay. So if you have this handy, for example, you are calling some service and you are getting this some data, right? Which is a collection, What we can do, we can convert this collection into flags, right? So you can convert this into flags because whenever we are writing reactive code, right? Whenever we are writing reactive code, every method should return a flags or mono. No more collections, no more raw object, right? So you could say flex, right? So or else number flex equals to you can call numbers, right? So you can call numbers, yeah, but sorry, flex from ith row, right? From ith row. So which is going to convert a collection to flex. Okay, it's very important because we whenever we write a reactive programming, every method in your project must return, right? Every method in your project must return flex and mono only. Never return, right? So never ever return the direct object or never ever return any collections, right? So in project in Spring Boot MVC, so we are returning response. So tomorrow when we write our project reactor project, it is not going to be response object. It's going to be mono response, right? Mono response. And when you return collection data, right? So when you return collection data, you should change it, right? You should change it. It's going to be flex response, right? So flex response like that. So every method in Project Reactor is going to be mono and flex. So you should know how to convert collection to flex, right? How to convert collection to flex because maybe you call some third party service, may that return, right? So that may be returning, right? So that may be returning a collection, so you should know how to convert that collection into flex. Okay, yes. And it is also possible to convert a stream to flex. Okay, so you no need to do all these things if you have a stream handy. So we have methods like stream, right? From stream and from array. So if you have array handy, then you can convert it into flex directly. If you have stream handy, you can directly convert it into flex. So this is what is the Java compatibility, right? So Java 8 compatibility. So how the stream can be converted into flex by using from that stream, because you may call some method which may return stream, but our methods, right, in our project reactors, no more stream, no more array, no more collections, right? No more objects. So the data is going to be stored in terms of mono and flex. So these are the methods are going to be used to create flex and mono. So mono is straightforward, right? Because it holds only one parameter. So we don't have I mean, from array list, from collection, right? From stream, because it's going to hold only one data. So if you are storing only one data, then we don't have collections array concept, right? So that is the reason mono is a straightforward, right? So see two iterable, yeah. So from iterable from stream, I didn't mention, yeah, from array from stream. So these are to convert from collection to I mean Java to flex. So we also have the return, right? So return like vice versa. So two iterable, two stream. So to convert flex to iterable, which means like collection, and flex to stream. So all the time we are saying iterable instead of collection. Any idea why? Actually, collection is the
Collections are iterable from iterable.
yes, right. So collections are iterable. So what is the root interface for collection API? Iterable. So if you just open, sorry, control shift T, right? So open collection, right? Java.util.collection. So the root interface for collection is the iterable. So it's introduced in JDK 1.5. So from JDK 1.5, the root interface for collection API is iterable. So that is the reason why we are always talking to iterable from iterable. Okay. So earlier it was like from collection to collection, but this got changed now. So these days, like terminology, like from iterable and to iterable. Okay. So we have seen the methods like to convert collection to flex, stream to flex, array to flex. It's vice versa, right? Flex to collection, flex to stream also can be converted. Flex to stream, flex to collection also can be converted. But sometimes we will get a requirement, right? So we may need to convert flex to mono, right? So you have a list of names, right? You have list of names, but you need to get it converted into a mono. So what you will do, you call flex to collect list, right? Flex to collect list. So what will happen, so this will be converted into mono list, right? So mono can hold only one element. So that only one element is a collection element, right? So it's going to be converted into like this, right? Mono of list of string. So mono names, right? So mono names equals to, so flex to collection. So if you do like this, then you can convert mono to flex to mono. And sometimes, I mean, if you would like to do sorting then and there, right? So if you would like to do sorting, then you can call collect sorted list, but make sure the element which flex holds are comparable, right? So if you call this method, right, collect sorted list, and if you are trying to apply this for our customized projects like mobiles or employees or users, right, which are not comparable, then you will get class cast exception. You will get class cast exception. So let's go to the flex.java. You see there are 10,000 lines, right? So it's like 10,000 lines are there, and you see that collect, right, collected to sorter list. But then you can ask me how to do a customized sorting. Then we have another method, right? Comparable, right? So comparable, so sorry, comparator is for customized sorting, right? Collected sorting is the default sorting, which supports only comparable. I think this we discussed, right? So this we discussed um, on do you remember at what in Java basics, right? I think day 2 or day 3 we discussed, right? Comparator, comparable, right? So that day we saw a couple of sortings, right? And why we are using Java 8, Java 8 sorting because it's very easy to implement, right? So if it is not Java 8 comparator, if it is not Java 8 comparator, then you should write a lot of code, right? So there is a separate code class has to be written, and that separate class has to be maintained, right? So yeah, so that separate class has to be maintained. Okay. Yeah. So if you would like to convert, do the sorting. Okay. Okay. If you would like to do the sorting, then call this method. Okay. So it's sorting is inbuilt. Sorting is inbuilt uh, with flux. Okay, defaultly. Mono no sorting required because it is just only one element. So no need any sorting here, right? So only flux only we needed sorting. So it supports default sorting and customized sorting. It supports default sorting and customized sorting. So it is also possible to convert a flex to map. That is also possible, and you can also do sorted map, I believe. Okay, so let me check. Okay, there are so many methods we have. Collected only. Okay, sorting is only applicable for a list, not for map. Okay, it's applicable only for list, and we have default comparable sorting, comparator sorting, comparable sorting, comparator sorting. Okay, so don't write extra logic, just use these methods when you want to do a sorting less and convert it into mono. Just use these methods. Okay, don't write extra logic. And these are lambda expression supportables, right? So you can write a simple one line lambda expression to do the sorting, right? So that is our, I think, our day 2 or day 3 day on day 2 or day 3 we discussed, right? You just go and check the sheet whatever I shared. So how to write comparator sorting, right? Using Java 8 lambda expression. Okay, so yeah, so let's quickly do that. Let's quickly do that one sorting mono. Okay, so but anyway, you cannot print it, right? So you should know how to subscribe to this publisher, right? How to subscribe to this publisher. So until you subscribe, nothing can be done. So once I mean, let's quickly do this. Check how can we subscribe. Then later we will print this data on the console. Let's go to the second slide. Okay, so we have a subscribe method, right? So we have a subscribe method and mono on flex. So there are so many methods out there, right? So there are so many methods. I mean, so many subscribe methods out there. Overloaded subscribe methods. So you can just subscribe and leave. Nothing can be done. You can leave. You can subscribe and do some consumer, right? So what is consumer? Java 8 predefined functional interface, right? So do you remember what is consumer? If not, so you are not uh, practicing, or you are not going through the recordings. So what is consumer?
Functional interface which does some action without returning anything.
Yes. Right. So the return type should be void, and it is going to perform some action, right? So I think it's a consume. Okay, consume, and this will take a parameter, right? The parameter of type T. T means it can be anything, and it's functional interface which is present inside Java dot, right? Java dot util dot function package, right? Function package. Yes. So you have to provide implementation for this consumer. So what is the place where we are using this consumer a lot?
Streams API wait.
For each, right?
Yeah, for each.
For each takes consumer. So we are doing system.out.println. So system.out.println is best example, right? Best example for consumer
Yes.
implementation. It takes the data, but it won't return, right? So return type of this out println method is void.
Void.
Right? So yes. Yeah, so we can pass consumer, and we can pass consumer, and when there is an exception, you can do some processing for exception, and you can pass the consumer, and you can also say it's complete, right? On complete event notification, you can say something like it is completed. Okay, so like that there are so many methods are in the subscribe. Like we will see a couple of examples, right? So let's go to mono first. Okay, let's remove the flex code from the mono example, and you created a mono, right? You have to subscribe to get it done, right? So, but we are, it's a mono, my mono, sorry, my mono dot subscribe. Okay, so subscribe method, yes, subscribe method, then nothing can be done because we are not doing anything, we are just simply subscribing, so nothing can be printed on the console, right? The program will execute like a simple main method, right? So what you should do to print this on the console, right? On subscribe you have to use consumer, right? So consumer, so system.out.println is the best example for consumer, right? If you use this one, right? Double colon operator, method reference. So you don't need to write lambda expression. So now that name will be printed on the console, right? On the console. On subscribe, you do some operation, then only the data will be evaluated. On subscribe, you do some operation, then only the data will be evaluated. Until you subscribe, nothing can be done. Until you subscribe, nothing can be done. Okay, but yeah, so for now you remember this for now, but in the future I will say don't subscribe. Okay, that time you must ask me why you said subscribe now, I mean in class second session, and why you are telling don't subscribe, right? So in the future I will say don't subscribe again. Okay, so but now whenever you are running with main method, it's very very important. Okay, if it is a standalone main method application, then you have to subscribe. Okay, if it is standalone main method application, you have to subscribe. Until you subscribe, nothing can be done. But tomorrow when we write a real application, web application, right, restful web services, okay, never do subscribe. Okay, it's a blender, right? So big code review comment it's going to be. Okay, in the real time application we don't subscribe, but here in the standalone main method application, or if it is a JUnit application, you must subscribe, right? You must subscribe. Okay, I'm just telling you conditions apply. Standalone main method application, you have to subscribe. Fine. Okay, so let's go to flex, right? Let's go to flex. Okay, let's try to subscribe to this flex, right? So let's do member flex dot subscribe. Okay, and just subscribing nothing can be done to a sysout, right? So overloading method of subscribe, which takes consumer as input. Okay, consumer as input. So so now that those members will be printing on the console, right? So what we are learning now, at what level we are now with respect to reactive programming, right? So I mean, when you start learning Java, I hope you started with core features, right? That is what we call core Java. Actually, in the industry standards, we call it as Java SE, right? Java SE. So right now we are on this level, right? So no HTTP protocol, nothing. A simple, very very core functionalities we are learning. But tomorrow when we go to web applications, it's the same monoflex, but the way we use will change a little bit. Okay, so when we go to real application, restful web services, okay, never ever do subscribe. Okay, never ever do subscribe. Okay, that is a big blender mistake. Okay, fine, but we are now core level. Yes, in main method, very simple standalone main method application, yes, it has to be subscribed. Okay, so this is one of the way, can be can be extracted the data, right? So the data can be extracted. This is one of the way. Okay, yes, but yeah, but there is another way also available. There is another way also available called block. Okay, block. But when you do block, you get the data. Okay, the data extracted from mono, and that has to be printed on the console. Okay, block is also one of the way. Okay, block is also one of the way, can be like, this is another way of subscribing, right? So this is another way of subscribing. So you can say block and get the string and print it on the console. Okay, yes, both are same, but I will tell you what is the difference. Okay, what is the difference between subscribe and block? Both looks the same way. Let's go to that marbles diagram, right? So color diagram. So this operator can be subscribe, this operator can be block, this operator can be subscribe, this operator can be block. When you do subscribe, so it's going to perform subscription and extract the data. When you do when you do this one, right, block, it's the same thing. Okay, it's a block, it's going to be same thing. Okay, for easy learning of these operators, okay, how can we learn easily this operator? Okay, so there is one API is available. Okay, so RX marbles. Okay, RX marbles, yes. So this is the URL. Okay, it's best way to let the reactive program. It's easy. So, but we are IT guys. We don't open system, right? We do open very often. Even for attending the session, also most probably most of the people would have been attending from mobiles, right? So, learning for this mostly we don't open laptop and we don't play with this, right? So the people who are familiar with mobile apps, okay, yes, there is a mobile app also available. Go to your Play Store. I don't know about Apple Store because I don't have Apple phone, but for at least for Android, yes, so there is a mobile app available. Just go to Play Store and type RX markers, right? So the same thing, just open your mobile phone and go to Play Store and type RX marbles. So like mobile mobile app. Okay, so it, you can download it, right? It's the same thing. It's just a mobile it is just oh, it is available in Android also. Good. Okay, sorry, Mac, Apple also it is available, right? So Mac also it is available, so you can download it on your phone and play sometime with this, right? Yes. So this is the best way. This is the best way to learn um, this mono and flex. Okay, but unfortunately it's not from Project Reactor. It's from ReactX. Okay, but the publisher, how it's going to work, like some of the operators can be learned. For example, okay, for example, there is a method called concat, right? So operator called concat. So the same method, the same operator is there in the flex also. Is the same operator there in the flex. Okay, so mono it won't be there because it holds only one element. But when you go to flex, you see there is a method available called concat. Okay, so how this concat method is going to work? For example, if you would like to learn how this concat method is going to work, instead of reading this story, let's play with these marbles, right? For example, we have two publishers, right? Plex 1, Plex 2, Plex 1 and Plex 2. And when you use concat, right? When you use concat, what is going to happen? So the data is going to be evaluated from first publisher, right? You see 111, right? So at what time the second data produces, right? So for example, if you look at, so there is a first data evaluated from Plex 1, and we got second data from Plex 2. But the concat operator is not going to pick from the second flex until the first flex completes the data processing, right? So you see 111 evaluated first, then 2. Even though, so let's consider this is the time series, right? Let's consider this is the time series. So in the real example, right? In the real example, so what exactly is happening? So for example, if you move this into time, right? So maybe like 10, now it's like 914. 914 you got 1, 915 you got 2, again 916 you got 1, 917 you got 2, 918 you got 1. But when you use concat operator, right? So nothing is going to be evaluated. Like 2 won't be coming, right? 2 won't be coming out until you 916, right? So I think it's 914, 915, 916, 917, 918, right? So 918th minute, so your 2 will not be evaluated. So concat is a synchronization process, right? So concat is a synchronization process. So it's easiest way to play with these publishers and subscribers. So is it clear what exactly is happening with the concatenation? Are you able to follow? Vijay, Chintesh, Abhiram.
So whatever the time, like it is evaluating only first one, right?
It waits until the first one get completed. Yes, you are right. Okay, so then only it will start the second one. So let's go to the code and try with that, right? So let's go to the code. Let's create two flexes, right? So two flexes. Okay, so flex, okay, integer, flex integer, so flex 1, okay, equals to flex dot just, and which is going to evaluate data 111, okay, which is going to evaluate data 111. Fine, but let's create another flex 2, which is going to evaluate data 22, okay, 22. So when we run this code, what will happen? So you will get a sequence 111 followed by 22, right? 111 followed by 22, because the concat method, right? So we have concat method. So you can call flex one dot concat, okay? So concat flex two, right? So okay, so you will get another flex out, you will get another flex out, which is flex 3. So the output for sure, right? So at what time the data evaluated, it doesn't matter, right? I think it's a concat method, is a static method, so we can directly call flex concat flex 1 comma flex 2, okay, flex 1 comma flex 2. So yeah, so static method has to be called by using, right, by using class name. So yes, flex 1 and flex 2. So what will happen when you process like this, okay, the flex 3 is going to have, there is a guarantee, right? So 111 followed by yeah, sorry, it's like flex 3 dot subscribe and do call system dot out colon colon println, right? So colon colon println, just put the semicolon and run. So there is a guarantee, right? So there is all time always guarantee, first 111, then only 22, okay, then only 22. So that is what is a concat method, right? So irrespective of the evaluation, so even though flex 2 is giving data before flex 1, it won't take it until flex 1 completes, right? Until flex 1 completes. So that is what is concat meant to be. But when you go to merge, right? So then when you go to merge, there is a slight difference. So let me open that in another tab, right? So it's like merge. So merge will work in a different way, right? So merge will be like asynchronous, right? So if the data is coming from flex 1, it will take, see, 20, 40, 60, yes, till the time the data is coming from flex 1, it was taking, but all of a sudden flex 2 came and gave the data, right? So hey, I have got the data like called 1, right? Yes, it takes from flex 2, and again flex 1 gave 80, it took, and again flex 1 gave 100, it took, and again flex 2 gave 1, it took, right? So for example, if I move this marble to little friend, right, for example 20, between 20 and 40, then output will be changed 21 40, because merge is going to merge the data asynchronously. Merge is going to merge the data asynchronously. How merge operator is going to work? When you have two flexes, so it won't wait until the flex 1 completes, right? It will asynchronously takes the data. See, as soon as I move this marble, so the output also is changing, right? So flex is something like that. But when we go to the first one, right? So when we go to this one, even though the
Okay.
2 is evaluating first, right? Even though the two is evaluating before 1, but still the output will not be evaluated, right? So it will wait until the first one completes. So the output is always 111 and 22 in the concat, but in merge it's not like that. So as soon as the data comes out from the second flex, it is going to be put it in the final output, okay? So concat works in a sequence way, whereas the merge works in a like no sequence, right? So when data comes, automatically it's going to be given out to the client. So if I move the 1, right? So second flex 1, so where at what timestamp it evaluates, at same timestamp it is going to be output, right? So it's going to be given to the subscriber, okay? So this is something like this, okay? So this is what is the difference between merge and concat, okay? So this is good, learning this operators, right? So learning these operators I really feel comfortable playing with these marbles. Okay, yes, it's a little difficult. It's not that much easy. It's not that much like straightforward. So you need to compare with other operators and see, right? So to understand about concat, you need to compare with merge, right? So merge is like it's a combination of two flexes, and but the data will be evaluated like more virtual, right? So when the second flex is coming and giving, we are just sending it. But when it is concat, no, it's not like that. Even though the first flex is evaluating after completing the second flex, even though see as per time series, so we got the data from flex 2, right? So we got data from flex 2, but still we are output is not like that, right? So it will wait until the first flex is coming. So similarly, there are so many operators are there. You just go to start with, right? If you say start with one, so it won't it will append the one, right? So actually, in this API, right? Actually, in this API, it's not that much friendly. Go to mobile app. You can add some more marbles. When you clicking on this arrow, extra marbles will be added, right? So mobile app is much better than this web app because you can add some more data to these marbles, right? So you cannot if it is a web application, we need to play with only with this, right? If it is web application, we have to play with only these marbles, whatever they provided. But when it is a mobile application, you can add some more marbles here, right? And you can also see some filtering, right? How exactly the filter works in the reactive programming. Click on the filter, okay? So you applied some condition, right? So like if the number is greater than 10, if the number is greater than 10, then only that is going to be given. So you see 2, it's less than 10, right? It's not in output. 30 is greater than 10, it's an output. 22 is greater than 10, it's an output. 5 is less than 10, then it's deleted, right? It's removed. 60 is greater than 10, yes, you got that, right? 1 is not greater than 10, so it is not there, right? So there are totally six elements are there in the publisher. But when you apply some filter with some condition, so the data will not be so all the data will not be given. So it will apply that condition, filter condition. So here what condition we are applying? The data should be greater than 10. 2 is not greater than 10, so it's not given. 5 is not greater than 10, so it's not given. 1 is not greater than 10, so it's not given. Okay, so that's how the filter works, right? And you see element at, right? So at particular index, right? So when you say element at index 2, actually index starts from 0. So you said 2, so that's the reason why 3 came. For example, if I move the 4 to second index, so the output is going to be changed to 4. If I move this marble back, then output is 3. So if I move 2, right? If I move 2 to third index, so you see the output is 2. So element at works like how based on the index. So what is the index? 0, 1, 2, 3. So we wrote operator like index 2, element at 2. So you will get it what I mean at index 2 what element we have. So for better understanding, you move these marbles and get better idea, right? So now second place 4 came, so our output is 4. For example, if second place 3 came, right? So 0, 1, 2. Third element is at index 2, so the output is 2. One open question, frank question. May I able to make you understand at least by through these marbles? Will you able to understand?
Yes, yes, Samir. At least with this, able to picturize actually at least.
Yeah. Okay. Go to skip, right? So skip 2, first 2 will not be evaluated, right? So it will skip first 2. So if you move 3 and if you move 4, then first 2 are 3, 4. So 1, 2 will be output. If you move 3 back, so first 2 are 1, 4, 1. So 2, 3 is output, right? So you just play with this. I can make you understand, like it's not but much easy. As much you play with these marbles, as much as you play with these marbles, you get better idea. But only the drawback is it's not from project reactor, it's from reactvex, right? So yesterday's discussion we see, right? So there are multiple libraries are there. Project reactor is one library, rx java, right? So reactvex is another library. um, Fortunately this is from rx java. So and this is dedicated for js, but anyway, most of the operators will behave in the same way, right? Most of the operators will behave in the same way. So learning this is will benefit you, right? Instead of writing code and learning, you just yeah, right, you just visualize and picturize the things and get it, right? There are so many operators out there. For example, go to count, right? It will give you the count based on some condition, right? So the value which is greater than 10, we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, but there is a condition, right? So the value which is greater than 10, so how many we have? 2 is not greater than 10, but so it is not considered. 30 is greater than 10, 22 is greater than 10, 2 5 is not greater than 10, not considered. 60 is greater than 10. So three elements are greater than 10, right? So count with some condition evaluation, right? So count with some condition evaluation. So count will work like this. So there is a default count also will be there, but they won't allow us to modify this operator. Okay, if you pass count without any condition, you will get 6 output. Count with some condition, so you will get a different output. Okay, so max, you know what is the maximum value, right? So that is what is being given. Minimum, you will get minimum value. Reduce, it will give you some group, right? Grouping, right? So we have to pass some function, so we are doing some grouping, right? So it's a combination of 1 2 plus, I mean 1 2 3 3 3 plus 6 6 plus 4 10 10 plus 5 15, right? So it's a reduce means it will perform some operation and give one values out. Okay, so like that, there are so many operators are there, but very important operators are three. One is filter, and the next one is map. Okay, so what exactly map does, right? Map does some action, right? It takes each element, right? So that we have 1 2 3 marbles, right? 1 2 3 marbles, and it performs some action, right? So what is that action? Multiplying with 10. 1 into 10 10, 2 into 10 20, 3 into 10 30, right? So map performs an operation on each element, right? Each element on the publisher. So for example, if your publisher has 3 elements like 1 2 3, and what does map do? Map will take each element, and what is the function you wrote? What is the function we wrote? Multiplication with 10. So the output is going to be 10 20 30, right? So that's how the map works, right? The filter is different. Filter is going to filter the data, whereas the map is going to map the data. But map will evaluate, even filter also same, right? It evaluate each element on publisher, right? I think we already discussed this. Map we have on the stream API, right? Filter we have on the stream API, right? So flat map we have on the stream API. So the same concept here, how the stream map work, the same way the publisher map works. Okay, how filter works, stream filter works, the same way publisher filter works. Okay, and one good benefit with this publisher. So this publisher is like it's going to work across all the technologies, right? It can be Java, .NET, JavaScript, whatever it is. So this operator is going to work in the same way. This operator is going to work in the same way, most probably, like 99%. Okay, so we also have flat map, right? So there are so many operators are there, right? See, coming soon, more evaluation is happening, more operators they are introducing, and they are telling, right, coming soon. Maybe in the future they might add some more operators, right? So just play with this these operators and get better idea. But at least you should understand filter, map, flat map, right? Filter, map, flat map. There is, excuse me, yes. Yeah, I'm back. Okay. Yes. So this is how you should learn this, but this is one of the way, right? It's just like add-on. Okay, it's just like add-on, because I may not be able to cover each and every operator, right? So based on demand, you just go and learn that corresponding, you just go and learn that corresponding operator and just get it applied, right? So just get it applied. Okay, so this is one good tool, can make you feel, I mean, better learning, right. So let's come back anyway. Yes, now let's come back and discuss, right. So what is the difference between subscribe and block, right? So this is what we were talking. So from there we jump into marbles and we play with the marbles. But anyway, this is one of the way you can subscribe, and this is another way you can subscribe. Okay, but one good thing is when you write RESTful web services, okay, never do subscribe or block. Okay, so when you are writing a project, right, so never do subscribe, because there is some drawback with these two operators. Okay, so first let's discuss with the block. So by looking into this name block, what you understood, how does block works?
Blocking something, blocking some data or
Yes,
some kind of operation.
right, yes, blocking, but what is that blocking? You know, when you call block method, right, for example, if you go to this example and call block method, what is the drawback with this approach? You know, this main thread, right? So who is going to call this code? Main thread, right? So main thread will be blocked until this code is getting evaluated, right? So until this code is getting evaluated, so your main thread will be blocked. For example, if you use let me check, is there any way I can put some delay here, right? Okay, let me say delay. Okay, so some delay, but delay with the data we want to write. So publisher, we have from publisher, from callable, from future, from runnable. Let's do one thing, right? So let's create it from runnable, right? Let's create runnable. So I will write the lambda expression directly. Okay, and I will do like this. I think callable is better, right? So runnable, we cannot return the data, right? So better do callable. Okay, better do callable, and implements callable interface. It's the same thing, right? But the difference is callable should return something, right? The difference between callable and runnable won't return anything, callable returns something, right? Yes, but before running something, if I make my thread to sleep for some time, right? So the drawback with the main method, it will wait, right? So it will wait. This is not the way, right? So what is the latest way of making thread to sleep? Time unit dot seconds dot sleep, right? Dot sleep, and let it make it sleep for 10 seconds. So your main thread will be blocked for 10 seconds. How can I prove that, right? So if it is not blocking, my next sysout would be printing, right? So if I go for non-blocking, um, I am a non-blocking. Okay, I'm at non-blocking state, right? If this statement is printing, we can think, okay, this is not blocking, right? So if it is block, means, okay, when you call block method, your thread will be blocking until your mono evaluates. So this statement will not be printed, right? So that is what is the proof. Like when I call block, the evaluation of mono will make the main thread to be blocked, right? So let me run this code. You see that nothing can be printed. Okay, so first we see, okay, so it will wait until this thing is getting printed, right? You see it wait for 10 seconds, right? So let's do one thing. Let's add some sys out here. Starting, okay, first starting will be printed, and next after 10 seconds ending will be printed. So in between, my main thread will be in waiting state. It won't go and execute further code, right? It won't go and execute further code. So let me run this code. You see starting is going to be printed immediately, but 10 seconds sleep. So my main thread also will be sleeping for 10 seconds because it's in the blocking state, right? And it's going to print the data. finally after 10 seconds we are getting the data. So don't play with the block. Okay, don't play with the block, because especially whenever you are writing REST services, if you just call block, that's it. It's a synchronization, right? So what is block? So it's like a synchronization, right? So it will wait until the event completes, right? So until this action completes, it will wait. Okay, so never do this with real time. Now let's do the subscribe and see, right? Let's do the subscribe and see what will happen, right? So my mono dot subscribe, my mono dot subscribe, and let's see the difference. But anyway, we are calling subscribe. It will go, and that thread will be waiting for the 10 seconds, but we'll see whether this statement is going to print it after 10 seconds or immediately. Okay, the difference between subscribe and block. Starting, yes, the thread is waiting. Okay, the thread is waiting for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, okay, after 10 seconds, yes, this end statement printed, end statement is printed, and finally it is printing the data, and it is calling, right? It's calling this, right? So both subscribe and block is working in the same way with respect to Oracle JDK. But when we are running in the server, the things will work in a different way. So subscribe will work on in asynchronous mode, right? So subscribe is going to be run by a separate thread. So if you run this code, same code in the server, right, netty server, you see that this statement is going to be printed immediately. Okay, just go to Google and see subscribe versus block, right? Subscribe versus block. Subscribe called asynchronous, so it won't block, right? It won't make your main thread to block. So your main thread will be executing further statement. So subscribe is a kind of risky, because there is no guarantee that the data will be evaluated. Okay, so why we don't call subscribe? Because it's asynchronous, so there is no guarantee that the data will be evaluated. But when it is coming to block, it will block the main thread. So that is the reason why we don't call subscribe and block. Okay, so there is another way we do subscribe in the real time Spring Web Flex. We will see, okay, what are all those operators. But when you're writing reactive programming, I mean, RESTful web services using Spring Web Flex, don't do subscribe and block, because these both are having side effects, right? These both are having side effects. Block is going to block the application. Subscribe, there is no guarantee the data will be evaluated. Then you can ask me, right? If it is okay, in main method it's not working, but how could I make sure this is going to be run by a separate thread? How could I make sure this is going to be run by separate thread, right? Okay, you can say subscribe on. Okay, there is a method called subscribe on. Okay, so here we need to say, right? So scheduler. So you need to say scheduler dot. I think it's a wrong scheduler. Okay, so what is this? Reactor core scheduler. Okay, it's not scheduler, schedulers, I believe. Okay, so schedulers that parallel. Okay, so it's going to be done like separate. Okay, it's going to be run by like parallel. It's going to run. So this is one of the way you can enable multi-threading. Okay, so this is one of the way you can enable multi-threading. Okay, so by default mono and flex are synchronous, right? Mono and flex are synchronous, so you should get it enabled multi-threading. Okay, so mono and flex, right? The project reactor supports both synchronization and asynchronization, right? Synchronization and asynchronization. So this behavior is called concurrency agnostic, right? So concurrency agnostic, they support both, right? They support both. They support synchronization, they support asynchronization. Okay, so both are going to be supported. Okay, both are going to be supported. And okay, so this is how we are going to use subscribe and block. But this is suitable for standalone application. This is not going to be fit, right? This is not going to be fit for this is not going to be fit for real-time web services, because in the microservices, these two operators are not recommended to use. Okay, but for learning purpose, it's okay. Okay, for learning purpose, it's okay. If you are writing main method application or some JUnit test case, it's fine. But it is not suggestible to use in the main application. Okay. Yes. So that's how the subscribe is going to be used. So like overloaded subscribe methods are there, but we will not be focusing much on it. Okay, but we are not going to focus much on the subscribe because it's not recommended to use. So what I will do, I will quickly complete this. Okay, I will quickly complete this overloaded method. So let's go to Flex. Okay, so let's get some data from Flex. Okay, so Flex string. So Flex equals to Flex dot just. Okay, so first Java, then okay, Spring, then Spring Boot. Okay, so like this we are learning. Fine. Let's do subscribe. Let's do subscribe the Flex, right? So subscribe, and we need to do some operation. That operation is system dot out, okay, colon printer. So we are going to print each element on the console. Fine. It's a standalone application. Subscribe can be used. We got the data. So let's assume there is an exception occurred, right? So let's assume there is an exception occurred. So let's attach the exception, right? So concat with and throw some exception. Concat with and throw some exception. How to throw the exception? Let's try that out. Okay, so flex dot error. Okay, flex dot error. Yeah, so let's throw some error here. Not able to process. Okay, some exception. Okay, some exception. So what's happening? Throwable flex is not applicable. Oh, I think we need to throw exception. Okay, so new runtime exception. Put this message here, right? Oh, yes. Up to 3 parameters, it's fine. Okay, we are able to process the data. Java will print, Spring will print, Spring Boot will print. But while processing fourth element, right, we will get an exception, right? So if I run this code, you see that okay, so Java Spring Boot printed, and we got an exception. So what exactly is happening in the background? To get an idea, it's better to do log. Okay, I think, not here. Okay, flex.log.subscribe. So we will come to know what exactly is happening in the background. Okay, flex.log.subscribe. So this log will make you understand what are all the things are happening in the background. Let's do run the code and focus on the console. You see, first subscription. First, what happened? Subscription happened, followed by request, right? Followed by request. Yes. So request will start, right? So it start actually. So can you please give me the data like that we are requesting? So first we did subscribe, and then we requested for data, and then flex start will start giving the data, right? So it calls on next and sends Java. So that is the first element, and again it calls on next and gives the data Spring, and again it calls on next and gives the data Spring Boot, and finally there is an error, so abnormal termination. Let's go to the our favorite diagram, color marble diagram. So one is Java, right? One is evaluated. So first subscription through operator subscribe, right? So on subscribe is going to trigger. So this operator on subscribe, and it requests the data, right? So request the data. So if I put it in a diagrammatical mode, Lucid chart is best suitable. Let me open that. I think it logs in automatically. Ah, I already logged in. Somehow it logged out. Let me log in quickly. So it's my email ID. Okay, password. Okay, fine, beautiful thing. Got it. Okay, so yeah, so here is our subscriber, right? So here is our um, publisher, right? Here is our publisher, yes, and here it's going to have three, right? Here it's going to have uh, three elements, right? So first one is Java, and so let's just copy paste, right? Second one is Spring, and just do copy paste. Third one is Spring Boot, right? So this is our publisher, right? This is our publisher, and the fourth element we have, but that is not data, right? So that is not data. So that is actual error, right? So that is that is an error. So better to fill with a different color. Let's fill with the red in color, right? So we have data like this, right? So first we have Java. So second we have Spring. Okay, second we have Spring, and fourth we have Spring Boot. Yes. So this is our publisher. So this is our publisher. First arrow. So we will get another, right, another line which is a subscriber, right? So here is the subscriber. Fine, but the subscriber is going to subscribe, right? So subscriber is going to subscribe through this, right? So it's like this. Okay, so the subscriber is going to subscribe to the publisher. Yes, first of all he has to do the subscribe, right? So first he has to do the subscription. Until you subscribe, nothing can be done. So subs and that subscribe is going to happen by on, okay, on subscription. Yes, so next event is, okay, request, right? So what is the next event? So after on subscription, so there is a next event is going to be triggered, right? So there is a next event is going to be triggered. Yeah, so that is request, right? So these two is the combination of subscription. So these two are called combination of subscription, right? So these two are called combination of subscription. So until you do subscribe, nothing can be done. So you have to perform this. I mean, not when I said you, which means this one subscriber, right? So subscriber has to perform on subscription and request. So once this is done, the data is going to be evaluated, right? So once this is done, so the data is going to be evaluated, right? So the data is going to be evaluated to the client. So Java is going to evaluate it, and Spring is going to be evaluated, right? Each element is going to be transferred, right? So each element is going to be transferred to the uh, uh, to the subscriber. How? Based on one event, right? So what is that event? On next, right? So what is the event? On next. Okay, let me make it small. So what is that event name? Okay, on next, right? So on next is event is going to be triggered, and the data is going to be transferred from publisher to subscriber, right? So it's the same thing. So for each element, right? So each element, each time when the data is transferred, so an event is going to be triggered. So when Java is coming to the subscriber, on next is going to be triggered, and when Spring is going to be the subscriber, right, on next is going to be triggered. And when this spring boot, right, I think I just put it Spring, but it's a Spring Boot, right? So Spring Boot is going to be triggered, but at the time an event is going to be triggered, right? So how does subscriber is knowing data is coming? How does subscriber is knowing how data is coming? Based on this event, right? When the error is going to trigger, right, Flex will not give on next, it's going to throw on error event. So what event is going to be triggered? On error, right? So what event is going to be triggered here? On error, right? So these are the sequence of events are going to be triggered, right? So it all starts with subscribe, on subscribe, then request, right? So on subscribe and request. So this is what is called subscription, right? So subscription is a combination of these two events, on subscription and request. So once these two events are triggered, the data will the data will be started, right? So the data is going to be started sending to the data is going to be started sending to the client, right? So subscriber is going to get the data. On next, Java is going to come here. So on next, okay. So it's like a time series, right? You just think like it's a series of time, right? So the data will be flowing from top to bottom approach, right? So the data will be flowing from top to bottom approach. And when there is an error, then you should think, okay, instead of on next event, on error event is going to be triggered, and that is going to be abnormal termination, right? So that is going to be abnormal termination, right? Yes. Now let's go to your console and see. So that is what it happened, right? On subscribe, on request, on subscribe, on request, and on each next method call, right? On next, on next, on next. So the data is going to be triggered, and when there is an error comes, so on error event is going to be triggered. When there is an error triggered, on error, right? So here it is, on error event is going to be triggered, right? On error. So that is how the data is going to be flowing. Okay, that is how the data is going to be flowing. For example, if there is no error, right? There is no error, what will happen? You get on complete, right? So you get on complete event. You see, if there is no error, you see on complete event is going to be triggered. But when the on complete is going to be triggered, when the all the data is transferred from publisher to subscribe, that time this on complete is going to be triggered. Then how can we process separately? For example, how can I print, if when I subscribe I want to process some error? So we have overloaded method, right? So subscribe, first argument is on next, and second argument is throwable, right? So throwable, so here you're gonna get that exception, right? So you're gonna get that exception object. You can print the details, right? System dot out dot print ln. Okay, so you can come to know what exception um, the flex thrown, right? So you can get like ex dot get message, right? So ex dot, sorry, px, it's not ex, right? So let's change it to ex exception reference variable ex dot get message, right? Okay. And here you can yeah, here also you can print some message on complete, on complete, right? On successful completion. So you can also say, I think it's runnable. Okay, runnable. So you can say some message here, right? So process completed. So when the event error comes, error details are going to be printed. When there is no error, right? On successful. So this is for on next, right? So this is for on next. So this is for on error. Okay, and this is for on complete, right? On next, on error, on, and on complete. Yes. So when we run this code, we will get on next trigger, and finally on error, because no successful completion. So process completed will not be printed, right? So process completed is not printed. It's not able to process completed is not printed, because on error is an abnormal termination. For example, if you comment this and on successful, right? On successful termination, you see that process completed is going to be printed. Okay, so this is how the events are going to be triggered internally, right? So this is how the events are going to be triggered internally, and the data is going to be processed, right? And the data is going to be processed. Okay, so this is how we can subscribe to flex, and this is how we can create the flex. Okay, and the very important methods like filter, map, flat map. Okay, I don't think so. I really need to show one example for this filter, map, flat map. You can play with the marbles and you can get it idea, right? Because we already learned those operators. Oh, I closed. Okay. I think we already learned those operators, right? Filter, map, flat map in Stream API. So anyway, we won't discuss here, but when we write our real-time application, it's fully filter, map, flat map. Okay, fully filter, map, flat map only. So if you want, I will show one small example. Otherwise, I will go to the next slide, next other steps. What you say?
A flat map, we are asking for flat map, right?
Flat map, yes.
But just show one example, that's better.
Okay, so
Yes, sir. I have 5 minutes.
let me quickly show all three. Okay, so I'm just okay. Okay, so let's filter this, right? So let's do the filter here. Let's start with the filter, right? So we can check length of this characters, right? So the string length we can check here. So if any string which has length more than 4 characters, then only print, right? So we can check filter. So filter is a condition, right? So it's going to be data. So you can check. Okay, so you can directly call string methods on the data because this flex is a type of string. So you don't need to explicitly do any typecast. You can happily call the methods which are there on the string. So you can say data dot length, right? Yeah, length greater than 4, right? It must be more than 4 characters. So when we run this code, you don't see Java will be printed. You see only Spring and Spring Boot is going to be printed because we are applying the condition, right? So we are applying the condition filter. So only Spring and Spring Boot is going to be printed, right? Filter is going to be used for filtering data. Filter is used for filtering data and map. So in through map, what we can do, we can like make uppercase, right? So map is going to be used for uppercase. So map, 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 right? Yes. So data. So let's return data dat, right? Data dot to uppercase. Okay, to uppercase. Now when we run this code, you see that the Spring and Spring Boot are going to be printed in the uppercase letters, right? Uppercase letters. So the difference between map and flat map, so map should always return the same type, right? You just put mouse on it. So the return type like flex of string, but by using flat map, we can return anything. So that is what is an extreme benefit, and it's going to be like extra benefits we are going to get with the flat map, because when you have flex of flex, right? Flex is holding another flex, or else map mono of mono, collection of collection, then only we go for map. But anyway, so the biggest benefit with the flat map, okay, so the major difference is, for example, let me comment this map. So it does the same action. It takes each parameter. So you can convert this into two uppercase, but um, okay, two uppercase, but you get an error. Okay, you get an error because when you use map operator, right? When you use map operator, so the default return type is going to be flex, right? So the default return type is going to be flex. But when you use flat map, you have to make sure you are returning the data, okay, in terms of publishers. Okay, so when you use flat map, you have to return, okay, this monogist. Okay, why? Because flat map return type can be anything, so it no need to be a flex. It is going to be a publisher, right? So it can return a publisher. So there is no guarantee that flat map will always return a flex. But when it is coming to mono, but when it is whenever we are using map, the things are not like that. Okay, the things are not like that. So okay, if I wanted to tell when to use map, when to use flat map, for example, you made a DB call, okay, you made a DB call, and you get list of mobiles, right? You made a DB call and you get the list of mobiles, good. But while returning this back, okay, while returning this back, you have to return a response, right? You have to return this as a response. So when you call DB, you got list, which is nothing but flex, no more list, flex. From backend, you got flex of mobiles, flex of mobiles. But when you would like to return this response back, it has to be one. When it is one, it's like mono of response. Then how can you convert flex to mono? How can you connect flex to mono? It is not possible with the map. It is possible with the flat map. So if your return type is mono, but you are getting flex data, then you have to use flat map. If your return type is flex only, okay, so you are going to return the same data. If you are going to return the same data, then use map operator. Okay, so when to use map, when to use flat map. For example, from the backend you are getting mobiles flex, and you would like to return mono, you would like to convert that to mono, then use flat map, use flat map. But if you are getting backend, from backend you are getting flex and you are going to return the flex same type, there are no changes you are going to do, then use map. Okay, yeah, at this point of time I can understand your situation. It's like mostly I'm saying there are some comedies. Okay, tomorrow I will play. Okay, there are some comedies. There is one fun saying, and some mob is there. He's going to say some words which we can't understand. Mostly I would be speaking in the same way, right? You can't understand what I'm telling here. But when we see the real time example, when we are going to write our first next application, RESTful web services, you can come to know when to use map, when to use flat map, when to use map, when to use flat map. Okay, you make a DB call, get all mobiles, but the return type is, if the return type is flex mobiles, if you're going to return as is, then use map. But you would like to convert into a single object, right? Mono of response. So through map it is not possible. That time we have to use flat map. So this can be understood when we are writing our first program. Okay, so at this point of time you can park this. If you are able to understand, it's fine. If it is not clear, no problem, we will write the code and we will discuss. Okay, I will show you that clear example by that time. Okay, so, and whatever we discussed, these are very important. Okay, there are a couple of operators are there, like zip. Okay, zip is one of the most commonly used operator. Okay, but at this point of time we may not be able to understand. Like if I'm telling you also, you may not be able to get it what is zip. So it's better to go to that marbles, right? It's better to go to the marbles. You see some zip operator will be there for sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, zip is there. So how zip is going to work? So this is going to give like how can you club two responses, right? Two publishers into one publisher. How can you do that? By using zip operator, it is possible, right? So by using zip operator, so you see 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, right? Like that, it is like the data is going to be like group of these two publishers, right? So zip is most commonly used operator, but I will try to I will write the code and I will make you understand how these operators are going to be used in a more realistic way in the real time project. Okay. Yes. At this point of time, if you are understood, I mean, if you are okay with the map and flat map explanation, it's fine. If you are not able to understand, still it is fine, because we will write the code and I'll make you understand. Okay. So that time it's going
I
to be.
think zip is like zipping so many folder of files into a one file. Like
No,
that
no,
we will
no.
do.
Not like that. Okay, so don't go with assumption. If you are able to understand this diagram, it's fine. If you are not able to understand, I will show you the code. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I will show you the code. So this is little different. Okay, so that's what I'm telling. So let's not assume. If you are able to understand, it's fine. If you are not able to understand, it's more fine, because we will write the code and there I will show you what is this, how the zip is going to be used, and how the map is going to be used, how the flat map is going to be used. Okay, so we will write two projects, not one, two projects in using reactive programming, Spring Web Flex. One is mobile accessories, where we have database MongoDB, right? Mobile accessory. Okay, so we will connect it to MongoDB and give them accessory information. And so we thought to write a client program which will make all these calls, right? So that is also going to be Spring Web Flex program. Okay, for sure. Okay, even though I'm writing the code, I make you understand, you can't even understand 50%. Okay, I will try my best, but I know what is the reality. You can get maximum 50%, because it's more functional coding and new methods we are going to use, and it's very like mostly like lambda expressions we are going to use like this. So it's better, it's time to rewind your the stream discussion and lambda expression for one more time. Okay, so going forward, it's like fully lambda expressions and new operators. I will try my best. For sure you will get only 40 to 50%. So you need to practice to get better idea. And moreover, never skip any class. If you skip one class, that entire concept is gone. Okay, one class. Today there are many people not attended. For them, it's like tomorrow. It's like
Pasak.
yeah, Telugu person, native Telugu person watching Malayalam movie. Okay, until completing this reactive programming, try to attend daily session. I'm telling you the work. I'm setting your expectation correctly. Don't expect everything you understood. At least you understood like 40 to 50 percentage. Remaining 20-30 percentage you have to practice. Until you practice, nothing can be done. I'm telling you, right? The expectation is maximum you can extract 50 percentage. You cannot cross that. Okay, because yeah, things make you feel okay, these are like understandable somewhat, but it really it won't be, right? You have to write the code, do hands on, so then only you can get a better idea. Okay, from tomorrow we will not write any main method code. We will directly jump into, first we will write one simple MongoDB application, and we will insert one row, like one entry. We will give one entry in the MongoDB. Then we will go to the real-time application, right? First we will start with a simple MongoDB application. Then we will try to write a real application, right? So a real Spring Web application, Spring Webflex application, reactive programming, okay, and which is going to fetch the data from the MongoDB, okay? Because I will tell you why it's a MongoDB, why it is not MySQL or some other, okay? Okay, guys, thank you. Okay, so don't miss the session, even though it is not understandable. So be with the right expectation, right? So it's 40 to 50 percentage only you can get it. So all in your hands. Try to do practice on daily basis. Okay, so it's a new paradigm and new way of doing the things, full of functional coding. Okay, going forward, the things will be very vast. At least whenever we are writing mobile accessory, you will be little confident. You think you understood 60 to 70 percentage. Okay, whenever we are writing mobile accessory, it is 70 percentage understandable. But when we go to mobile client, your way of your graph will go down. You think you understood only 30 to 40 percentage, because it's more functional code I will write. Too much functionality, too much functional programming it is. So your graph will go down. Don't be panic. Yesterday I showed one um, video, right? So don't be panic. Don't get don't get misunderstood. It is the correct expectation. Okay, so whatever you understood, that is the reality. You get understood only that particular share only. Okay, so don't be panic. It is just another paradigm. You need to practice. You need to do hands on. So if you are not able to understand, play with the marbles, go through this recording, and still you are not able to understand, ask the question. I will try to explain in a different way. Okay, so this is what is the real expectation, guys. Okay, so one or two concepts you are not able to understand, don't skip the next session. If you skip one session, that's it. Okay, next 1 week to 10 days you cannot understand anything. Okay, people who skip today's session, for them what is mono, what is flex, what they will understood, what is subscribe, what is block. Okay, how to create a mono, how to subscribe to mono, how to extract the mono, right? So it's not good. Please don't skip like next 1 week to 10 days sessions. Okay, yeah, any questions? Sorry, too much HOD
No,
session.
no, sir.
Okay, thank you, guys. See you tomorrow. Okay, yeah, meanwhile try to complete that assignment whoever not completed. Okay, and try to practice these sessions on daily basis. Okay,
Yeah, sure. Doing it.
yeah, thank you, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.